everyone, my name is Kat and I am back today with another bookish ramble, and today I just kind of want to go through some of my more like summary reads. I know summer is leaving us, but you know, maybe you want something still a little bit summery to be reading, or maybe you want to get some ideas for next year. Now, full disclaimer, most kind of like summary books tend to be romance books, and I am not a huge romance reader. It's not I don't like it, I'm very fussy. I'm very fussy with my romance. Yeah, so I might have a few unpopular opinions on some fan favourites, but everything is just my opinion and you do not have to listen to me at all. So I think for me, when I kind of think of summary reads, there are kind of there's like the kind of like the very typical, very clear beach reads, but I find there tend to be like three kind of like main themes. There tends to be like going to a different setting, usually a romance, and some kind of growth, revelation-y type thing that happens along the way. So I have three books that kind of fall very solidly into that kind of summer reads category, and then two that meet some of the criteria that I kind of consider to be summer reads, but probably wouldn't be like, you know, like they're not like classed technically as like summer reads, but I would say they're summery reads. So yeah. Let's get going. So first book was Beach Read by Emily Henry. So Beach Read, it follows an author who's in a little bit of a life rut and also in a writing slump, and she encounters another author who writes very different books to what she writes, who's also in a little bit of a writing slump, and they decide to swap genres for a book and write a book kind of in each other's genre. This book is beloved by many, and the premise was something I was really excited for. And I don't think it was done badly at all. I just didn't vibe with the main kind of romance pairing. I just got very bored and it just really just didn't do it for me at all. I gave it 2.5 stars. But as I say, this book is beloved by many, so I would like check out some other reviews on it because it's probably just me being me. So the next book that I read was The Summer Place by Jennifer Weiner. And I had really high hopes for this going into it because in the beginning I was in love. It's basically set in after kind of post-COVID stuff. It follows a family and their daughter is in the process of getting married, and they're going to go and have the wedding at her grandma's like family house where like a lot of the family has spent a lot of time, and then basically stuff just starts to unfold and it all gets a little bit chaotic. The secrets kind of start to come out that just kind of could potentially just unravel and destroy everything. So I read after I listened to the audiobook for this, and I was obsessed with the first two chapters. I thought I was going to love this. It kind of tackled some interesting themes, kind of like motherhood, and some kind of, I was hoping it's gonna be a little bit more family based, but there were two things as it kind of kept going that I really didn't like. One is that I think it just tried to do too much. It took on too much and it didn't really succeed at any of it, and then it used the things that it was taking on rather than like a really interesting exploration that would have been, in my opinion, just as entertaining. It just used everything for dramatic effect and it didn't really work. Minor spoilers, but there was like loads of cheating that kind of came out and it was going on, and I felt like there weren't any real repercussions for it. And obviously, you know, like life happens, but there was just, I don't know, there was lots in it that made me personally feel very uncomfortable. It was very entertaining to read. I really liked the writing style and I had like a lot of fun reading it. The ending just annoyed me. So I gave this 2.5 stars as well. I have also heard, I've seen a lot of people say that they really liked Jennifer Weiner's like other books, and they weren't too keen on this one either. So I will probably check out more of her stuff because I did like the style, but yeah, no, not for me. So the next one is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So Malibu Rising, it follows a wealthy family who have like a really big party, I think it's every year, but it's revealed early on in the book that at the end of the night the house will go up in flames. And then the book basically kind of goes back, it explores a lot of the family's background and kind of how they've got up to the point they're at in the current day and how the house just goes. Yeah, so I did actually really enjoy this. It wasn't anything like, you know, revolutionary, but I thought it did what it did very well. Thematically, it's very similar to Daisy Jones and the Six, kind of looking at the problems of wealth and kind of being famous, and you know how it can kind of, everything can just come tumbling down around you. And yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of how Daisy Jones and the Six was presented. I preferred Malibu Rising a lot more, and yeah, I did enjoy it. I would give it a very solid 4 stars. Less on the romance side, more kind of on the family drama side, which was again entertaining to watch and kind of to hear unfold. Yeah, I did really enjoy it. But I do just have to say, Taylor Jenkins Reid has received a lot of backlash recently because of her portrayal of Latina women under kind of very negative stereotypes. And Carrie Soto is Back is the book that has brought a lot of this to the forefront. I do believe she also received some criticism for it in the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I've not read either of them. And Carrie Soto is in Malibu Rising, and I don't believe her race is ever disclosed in Malibu Rising, but it's my understanding, I think in Carrie Soto is Back, she is confirmed as a Latina woman, and that does put a very different lens on some of in the way she's written in Malibu Rising. In my opinion, I kind of, like, as I was going through it, knowing what was going on, it did make me a little bit uncomfortable to read that. So I will kind of link a few resources and, you know, useful creators on the subject matter, and please, if you are going to read it, go into it critically and listen to Latina Woman. Okay, so the next book was actually a book swap with my mum, and that is The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. This one's moving into kind of the more loosely summer-related books, but I still think it's got some of the same themes. So The Giver of Stars, a woman moved from England to marry her husband in Kentucky. It's not a happy marriage, and then she ends up kind of joining up with this horseback library that delivers books to the rural people in Kentucky, and basically kind of is trying to improve literacy in the area. And for various reasons, there are people in the town who are not very happy about this library service. I wasn't too sure about it at first. It was very slow getting going, and you know, I wasn't too sure, but the writing was really nice, and especially the kind of the writing of like the journeys on horseback, which apparently I think Jojo Moyes actually had gone out and done herself. And about 25% of the way into the book, I did really get into it. But yeah, I thought that the book had some really nice feminist themes going through it, and it also really addressed the importance and the power of literacy and how illiteracy can be used as a form of control, and kind of the withholding of that information and those skills are a form of control in which you can kind of restrict people from knowing and understanding their rights. And I thought that was something that was explored really, really, really nicely. The ending was fine. I wasn't overly blown away by it. It didn't put me off too much either. It was, you know, it was a good resolution. Maybe everything tied together a little bit too neatly, but you know. So yeah, this was another one I gave a very solid 4 stars to. And again, as before, I do just have to say, Jojo Moyes has received criticism for her ableism in the Me Before You series. I personally didn't notice anything in this book that was particularly ableist, but that's because I didn't see it, doesn't mean it's not there. And again, please listen to creators who actually know more about the kind of the subject matter at hand, and never force anyone to read a book that they're not comfortable supporting the author of or comfortable reading. Finally, we have As Far As You'll Take Me by Phil Stamper. So As Far As You'll Take Me is a queer coming of age story that follows Marty, who moves from America to London in hopes that he can pursue a music career. Now, Marty had auditioned at a music school the year before, but due to some stuff in his family that had happened while in London, it didn't go very well and he did not get in, so therefore he basically moves over with no plan whatsoever and is just living with his cousin and just kind of hoping that he's going to make it. This book does deal with some quite heavy themes. It kind of seems like it's going to be quite fun and lighthearted, but it deals with a lot of kind of toxic relationships and friendships, mental health issues and eating disorders. There were some things that this book handled phenomenally, and I thought this was going to be a new favourite. And about 65% of the way through, there was just a little thing that happened, and it just made me... I didn't like it. It just felt a little bit out of character. It felt a little bit insensitive in context of what was like happening around everything, and I just was not a fan. And I think basically this book also fell into the issue of trying to take on a little bit too much for what it was. I thought that the like the way that the kind of toxic friendships were addressed was really good. Along with the anxiety, I personally thought the anxiety representation very much kind of aligned with my experience. But I thought that the kind of the stuff regarding the eating disorder and also toxic like relationships definitely needed a little bit more detail and attention put to them to be fully fleshed out and kind of well portrayed, in my opinion. I did still enjoy this book aside from its issues. I would give it a 3.5 stars. It's just a shame because I think this could have been something really fantastic. So that is all of the summary books that I read over the summer. I hope that you found something in this video that was like helpful or useful to you. If you've read any of these, I would love to know your thoughts in the comments. And also if you have any summary recommendations for me to read next year or whenever I feel like getting away from cold, depressing England, let me know and I will check them out. So yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble on as always, and I will see you next time. Bye!